Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Football Daily Weekly. Happy New Year! We're back. It's 2014, it's a World Cup year, and Laurence McKenna's with us.
Hello.
And Dave O'Brien from Squawka.
Hello.
Pleasure to have you with us, gentlemen. We're going to be talking about the things we learnt on the weekend. Let's start with Juventus versus Roma. Dave, are Juve that with their team to beat surely now? Is Serie A theirs?
Pretty much, yeah. They've got the best squad in the league, pretty much, with all these free signings they've been getting. Tevez getting him on the cheap, that's a brilliant deal. Obviously contributing a lot in terms of assists and goals this season. I just think it's Juve's to lose in a way. I don't think they can lose it.
8-point lead. That's quite big. It would have been lovely to have seen Totti get another Scudetto. I mean, who knows? It's not over, but
it looks tricky at this point. And Juventus really bossed that game as well. Not, it doesn't matter if you.
They're looking strong, Juve.
Roma did go down to 9 men at the end, but before that, Juve still had the better of them, and Roma were panicking all over the place. They looked like, every time a goal went in, they were really desperate. They were looking at each other like, "What were you doing in that one?" And it's kind of unusual because earlier on in the season, you did see them looking quite organised and looking quite together as a side. But I think that the difference between the two sides, like you say, is probably squad depth that they've got. Also, the difference in the way that the two play. I think Roma are not as pragmatic as Juve have been this season, and Laurence has offered them that pragmatism.
Juventus definitely the team to beat, and the Scudetto is all but theirs, we think. Manchester United lost again. They lost at home again. Their poor form does continue, I'm afraid. Dave, you're a Manchester United fan.
Unfortunately, yes.
We've got to say.
Tough side time this season, but you've got to have that transition. If you've got those years of playing brilliant football, there's going to be a time where you're going to drop off and you're going to have to reassess your squad. You're going to have to let some of the young players have a chance. In a way, we need to move on. We need to potentially get rid of a lot of the big names in our squad and then progress as a side.
How much longer can people keep saying transitional period? I mean, is it a season? Is it 2 seasons? I mean, the Manchester United fans were a little bit restless at the end of that game against Swansea.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been quite patient, remarkably so, and perhaps when Sir Alex Ferguson said, you need to get behind the manager, that would have contributed to that kind of feeling around the club. I mean, is it a season? Is this season is a bit of a write-off for Manchester United?
I'd say, yeah, just write off this season. Obviously, last season we weren't very good. We won the league, but it might have been to do with the other teams not quite performing as highly as United did. Obviously, Van Persie scored a hell of a lot of goals last season.
And they have had injuries. I mean, Van Persie's been injured, Rooney's been injured. Actually, Fletcher's been injured, Carrick as well. These are key players.
That's the spine of a squad. That's the spine of Manchester United's team. One thing I think a lot of people level at United is they haven't managed this transitional period well enough. And maybe people would argue that, a transition of not only the manager but also Edward Woodward as well on the board level isn't the best time to transition both those parts.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, but when Chelsea, for example, transitioned, at least they had a decent squad. People are saying that this Manchester United team is actually not that good, and it just showed how great a manager Sir Alex Ferguson was, that he got the best out of those players. Now, yes, they've had injuries, but if you look at that squad, it isn't by far the top Manchester United side.
That's not his fault, though, is it?
That's not Moyes' fault.
We've just got to give him a bit of time, let him build his own squad in a way.
Also on the weekend, Arsenal did beat Spurs 2-0, I think it was.
that one?
Yeah,
2-0. Is that offensive?
Not in this show.
Oh, okay. Is that offensive?
Easy.
I think,
but yeah, they did. Theo Walcott was amongst the action. But is the gulf in Arsenal and Spurs getting a little bit bigger, do you think, Dave?
I think with the appointment of Sherwood, it's quite a good move. It's promoting from within. Obviously, one of the best teams in Europe. Barcelona promoted Guardiola. I think they might.
It's a bold comparison.
It's a very bold comparison.
But I'm glad you made it.
Guardiola's not as good as Sherwood.
Obviously different tactics and whatever. But I think he knows the club. He's been there. He's managed at the youth level. I think it's where you need to go.
The fact that he knows the team, the fact he's had the time with them, and the fact that now he can implement his own ideas or he can develop his own ideas on this top level could serve the side quite well. I do worry initially they're a little bit tactically naive, but if you do stick with him, you could do good things this season, I think. The difference is, I still think at the end of the season they'll find someone who is more of got a proven record. They've got someone who can play good football and implement something that's probably a little bit more progressive than what Sherwood's playing. Because the problem would be that he might get found out against the likes of Arsenal, which he was in this. If you can get a good manager in there, you can get someone who can play with this team, then I think the gap looks a lot less. And I mean, if you look at the beginning of the season, how furious people were with Arsenal's management and Arsenal's board, and that comparison to now, then it shows how quickly it can flip.
Yeah, absolutely. And Spurs fans mind the gap, I think we could say there. In Wales, Vincent Tan has been making big waves. He sacked Malky Mackay, but he's got in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Do you think that's a good move for Cardiff? And Solskjaer himself, Laurence?
It's an interesting idea to go with Vincent Tan, because if he does well, it's great. I've had this wonderful relationship. I've got a private jet, etc. Whenever I want it, we stand in the box together, taking great photos. If it goes wrong, he is crazy. You know what? He didn't let me spend all the money I wanted. He told me this. He made me wear gloves, etc., etc.
Yeah.
So there's weird.
And now
things
he would have Premier League experiences. He's got his foot in the door.
It's going to be interesting to see how he deals with the competition in the Premier League. It's a very different kind of competition in the Premier League. A lot tougher, a lot more rigour. You need to manage day-to-day affairs a lot better. But of course, I think he's seen that with Manchester United, Sir Alex Ferguson. So there's pedigree there. And Ferguson said to himself, pick your owner, not a club.
Yeah.
And he's probably done that quite well this time.
In the Bundesliga, we've enjoyed watching Bayern Munich and we've enjoyed watching Borussia Dortmund over the last few years and the battles they've had between themselves. And I think a lot of people were slightly gutted when Mario Götze moved to Bayern Munich from Borussia Dortmund. Lewandowski looks as though he's going to do the same again. Make that move from Dortmund to Bayern, which is a crushing blow for Dortmund fans.
And as a free agent.
They won't get any money at all.
Yeah.
Bayern fans must be licking their lips.
It's a hipster's nightmare. They've lost the two. They've lost Lewandowski and Mario Götze. It's just a nightmare.
To their rivals.
To the biggest rivals. It's a crazy thing. It's sort of in a way how United bought the title in a way by buying Van Persie. They bought Arsenal's best player.
Well, that's it, isn't it? Not only have Bayern got their man, they've also potentially handicapped one of their rivals,
like they did with Götze as well.
Absolutely.
When, just a couple of days before the Champions League final.
Well, he didn't play
in
that game.
But I think Lewandowski will bring a hell of a lot to the Bayern side. He is, in my opinion, he's probably the best forward in world football at the moment in terms of a striker, not an attacking winger, say Messi, Ronaldo, but as a striker. He's fantastic. I think he'll give them something else. He'll give them if they need to play out the back, he gives them that tactical option of going long, and he'll win those headers for you. He's a presence. He really is a presence. I think that's a key thing for Bayern Munich. They've got it all now.
That's all we've got time for this week, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you, chaps, for your contributions, Dave and Laurence. Great stuff. We'll be back on Wednesday to talk about the Balon d'Or. Let us know who you fancy for that in the comments below. Messi, Ronaldo or Ribéry. See you then.